Yorkasaw! Welcome back to Donkey Kong Country 2. Unlike Spyro's episode last Friday, this episode is coming live as a live remake, so let's hope that the audio doesn't mess up like it did last week, and that we are able to keep going. So we're going to pick up where we last left off here at Lockjaws Lockup, which is our first swimming level. Let's get it underway. So we start with a great big drop, and I can never get all these bananas, however hard I try. So swimming is fairly straightforward, and it's definitely one of the hallmarks of the Donkey Kong Country franchise. So, the music, I find, if you can hear it in the background there, over my voice, or under my voice even, the thing about it is that the tracks have always sort of had a kind of drama to them. The track for the original Donkey Kong Country was kind of ethereal, while this one's a lot more dramatic. And I'm just checking to see, because I thought I saw a banana coin up there, but I might just have to wait until the water level goes up in just a moment. Like there. Right, now I'm going to work my way back. So, here's our first banana coin. Now, the numbers may be different from last time, and I apologize if there's a little bit of discontinuity with my figures. Oh, there we go. An extra life. Because to make this episode, I had to reset the game. So, just spoiling a little bit of the craft there. Anyway, the swimming levels are also known for their secrets. There's one back there I didn't take because it's actually a shortcut to the very end of the level. Oh, and this is why it's called Lockjaws Lockup, because of those enemies. But fortunately, we have our animal buddy, On Guard. On Guard is probably the animal buddy that's had the most appearances in Donkey Kong games. Mainly because he's so useful swimming, with that great big sword of his on his snout. He's able to tackle almost anything. So all I have to do is just go over to them and he automatically dispatches them. Now here's somewhere, there it is. So the game definitely encourages you to explore, and the little rewards it gives are fairly worthwhile. So, for example, this one here, which teaches you about On Guard's Super Dash, which is fairly similar to Rambi's. I hold down the A button and away we go. So another Find the Token stage, and this one is a maze. They're fairly generous with the timing on it. So, all these bananas are dead ends. But of course the bananas add to the total. Unfortunately, there's no little hidden shortcuts in this one. So, I want to make it to the top right. There we go, I've just heard the coin appear. So I'll grab a few more bananas, because why not? And there we go. So this is basically what swimming is like. This isn't the only swimming level. Now, in the last episode, I felt I was a little bit... Oh, dearie me. Come back here, On Guard, thank you. Now, as I was saying, in the last episode, I think it was a little bit unfair to the original Donkey Kong Country. And I have to admit, listening back to my commentary then, I definitely think I was. Because the original was definitely groundbreaking. Sure, yes, the gameplay and definitely the soundtrack is better in this one. But this wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the original Donkey Kong Country. And like I said, this game managed to be the 6th most selling, or 6th most grossing, I suppose, Super Nintendo game. Whereas Donkey Kong Country comes above it. I think it's... Someone will have to correct this for me. It might be number 3 or 4. But it had the benefit of being sold with Super Nintendos. And of course, no on-guard sign means goodbye, buddy. So we have to rely on our own swimming ability for a while. Now, I'm fairly sure there's some secret paths around here somewhere. But at least there's an end. There we go. Yes, another life. Okay, yes, the starfish. They will get tougher and faster. And these guys, the Lockjaws, will move a lot quicker as well. But he's guarding this little secret passage here. Yet more banana coins. So if you ever need banana coins, this is the level to go to, basically. And yes, he can get the starfish as well, which is very handy. And the swim he has is also extremely handy. But anyway, as I was saying, Donkey Kong Country itself is responsible, or at least, if not the first, but definitely responsible for a lot of conventions in platformers and other sorts of video games we take for granted now, like the counters, which only appear at relevant moments, like that. The banana coin counter does not appear on screen until you increase its total. Same with the bananas. The first Donkey Kong Country did that. And in a way, that also inspires my own little counters that I've had going in my series. They don't stick around on screen and take up the landscape. Unlike Bubsy, which always had the wool ball count and the score on it, even though that was completely unnecessary. Oh, and I just lost my opportunity there. But we should be able to get around that. So what I'll do is get him over the line. Now, should be able to throw him up there. There we go. So of course you're supposed to come along here as on guard. You're supposed to basically do a supercharge there, and silly me forgot to do that, but at least it's forgiving. Other levels later in the game, yeah, not as forgiving. Now, I probably timed this wrongly. I'll grab another banana coin because why not? And Dixie has a shred, which means we end the level with a bonus. And now we have everything. So as you can see down there, and I'll just jump up to the next level real quick, there is no exclamation mark and DK coin after that. Whereas now, got the DK coin and the exclamation point, which means we've visited all bonuses, which means we've got all cream coins out of that level. But before I go on to Topsail Travel, we're going to check in on Swanky's bonus Bonanza. Give them a big hand, folks. Good evening, I'm Swanky Kong, and you're tonight's contestants on my Bonanza. It's easy to play, just pick a game and you're away. So, what Swanky Kong is basically a banana coins for lives exchange. I mean, it's not a free exchange. In other words, he is going to ask me quiz questions. Like, for example, what is my name? Well, you could be Stinky or Wonky Kong, but I think you're Swanky Kong. Good answer, here we go again. What is the first enemy that you see in the game? Is it a furry rat, a scaly crocodile, or an ugly earthworm? It's a furry rat. That's what I'm looking for. Next one, please. What is the name of this area of the island? Well, I don't think it's Gangway Garbage, and I don't think it's Gangland Galleon, though that's a very interesting name, and it sounds like it should be in GTA. I think we're going to go with Gangplank Galleon. And there we go. Here's your prize. 1 life. So now that that game's complete, I can move on to the next one, which costs 1 coin. But I might get 2 lives out of this. What button do you press to run? It is button Y. That's correct. Here's the next one. What is the name of the first level in the game? Well, I don't think it's Pirate Picnic. That sounds like something you take your 3-year-old to. And not Pirate Punch-Up. So it's Pirate Panic. You clever little monkey. Now, listen carefully. What is the name of the enemy boss who has kidnapped Donkey Kong? Well, that would be Captain K. Rool. It's not Captain K rap. I mean, even back then, Rare was pushing the boundaries. The Corporal K Reap. No, it's Captain K Rool. Alright. Little Monkey is a winner. I reckon Swanky Con is the voice in Donkey Kong 64 when you win things in bonuses. Okay, so that game's over. We can now do the Chimp Challenge. In the first level of the game, how many windows did the captain's cabin have? Now we're actually getting difficult. I know for a fact there's 4. So, what is the name of the first rigging level? Well, that's actually a lot easier because it's Main Brace Mayhem. It's not Rigging Right or Ropey Rubbish. And okay, try this one. In the first level of the game, which of these is not a background object in the captain's cabin? There is a sword, there is a map because you speak to the map to get K Rool's message. It's a gun. There is no gun. And there we go, 3 lives and we're already at 30. So now that that's done, I hope we'll see you back next week. So do I. Anyway, let's move on to Topsail Travel. Now, for DKC 2, Winky the Frog was retired and replaced with Ratley the Snake. According to the in-game story, Ratley is supposed to be on the Kremling side, but he doesn't like him because they've kind of mistreated him. So it's like, yep, I'm going to join with the Kongs. So, and a lot of people do remember the music, particularly from Winky's Walkway in the first game. So that's one of the best tracks from the game. But in this, I mean, that's sort of why Winky's memorable, but Winky's kind of clumsy and not as good on the visual real estate as Ratley is. And Ratley, just because of his spring, which you just hold A to charge, has a lot less real estate on the screen, which basically means he's got an easier to govern hitbox. Which is kind of important because you use them to jump on enemies and often it's basically the difference between life and death in later levels. But I'd say that Ratley is probably the most common of the animal buddies to appear in this game. Because especially he does useful things like get you into bonus stages, where we have to destroy them all. And fairly straightforward. We just jump from dragonfly to dragonfly. I forget what they're actually called. They're not called zingers. I've forgotten most of the enemy names in this game, unfortunately. But there we go. No more dragonflies. And we actually have something we can go up against the kaboings with. At least I think they're called kaboings. Now the other thing you can do, especially with Ratley, is that you can just move off the edge and I'll get a little bit of a thing going. And look at that, we can do a double jump. But unfortunately, it does mean this time I kind of missed it. But anyway. Let's go up. And we're back to where we were now. That A means we have to use the super jump to get up here. And we can get away without needing it again here. There we go. Now I will just look up here. Okay, we don't need to go up there yet. But there's also this treasure chest. And unfortunately, Ratley can't open treasure chests. Now that that enemy's gone, I'm gonna have to go and find an enemy for this treasure chest. There we go, there's a convenient ant. There we go. One more life. I mean, 33 of them. We kind of didn't need that many. Anyway, I knew he'd be back in his box down here. So that's why I came back. So sorry for the backtracking, but hey, for one life, yep. Because otherwise, no, it's a treasure chest. Who wants to waste a treasure chest? Not me, that's for sure. Okay, oh, yes, you can make it just with an ordinary jump. There we go. Now we'll jump over here. We can just get rid of them in one go. Now we could go to the right there, but that's just going to take us back to that bonus level. And now that we're here, then there's a no snake sign. Once we get past that, we lose our ability to use Rattly, of course. So now it's going to be up to us to deal with things. Including these zingers. There we go. The trick with those, and yes, you can double jump as well, just with the characters. The trick with Dixie's throw particularly is that you sort of have to be on one side of the screen to get anything. Or at least sort of get your arc right. One of the, I suppose, criticisms about... Oh. I would say is a criticism about this is that compared to Diddy, Dixie does seem a bit overpowered. I mean, yes, she's, a little bit slower. Her throw, as we saw last episode, is also a bit slower. But she's got the helicopter jump, which basically gives her superior explorability. Like this, I can just go over and, hey, there's some bonuses over there. And make my way back easily. Now, I just have to time this right, and I think it's there. There we go. It's one banana coin, and I think there's a... Yes, there is an end down there. I'm just going to easily make my way up there. There we are. And there's 2 dragonflies. I know there's a magic hook there, though. And then, that's how we get to that. And of course, if we miss those 2 jumps, or miss one of those, we would have lost our opportunity. But there we go. Same sort of layout as before. We just have to get up here without getting hit by the dragonflies. And 1 creme coin is ours. I think, as well, Dixie is fairly overpowered compared to Diddy. And it's kind of a carrying on from the last game. Because Diddy was sort of outclassed by Donkey Kong. And, I mean, Dixie Kong, I mean, just, like I said, has great explorability. I mean, you need her to get that. It's hard to do that with Diddy. I mean, not impossible, I suppose, knowing the double jump. But it's, I mean, she just makes everything easier. And I can see why she was used in the sequel to this instead of Diddy Kong. So it really wasn't until DK64 that Diddy Kong really had a chance to shine. Now I'm waiting for the G to appear. There we go. And Dixie has cleared yet another level. But I just sort of, as you will see, and usually end up playing as Dixie to do everything because she's just more useful than Diddy Kong is, which is a bit sad. Anyway, let's talk to our next Kong, which is Funky. And yes, we're up in the sky. Looking good, dudes. I'm Funky the main monkey, and my new funky flights can take you anywhere a Crocodile Isle, provided you've already checked it out, of course. Cruising over to the barrel, man, and ride the sky. So it costs you 2 coins, and this is how you get between the sub-levels. So I fly 24 hours, you know. And yes, he is on a surfboard in the sky, because this was the mid-90s. I remember there being an ad for Pepsi with a guy on a skateboard jumping out of a plane and using it to do airboarding. I mean, that was the thing in the 90s. You don't really see it anymore, or else we've just become so blasé to it that we don't really care. But anyway, let us now move on to the boss, Krow. Okay. So having done this enough times, he's going to go and grab his eggs. Or is it her eggs? We don't know. Anyway, what I want to do is basically that. We have to jump on the eggs. And the Krow has a little bit of a swoop. And then we basically do that. Now that we've hit Krow a couple of times, he or she gets a little bit crazy and oh! Well, that was fortuitous. doesn't normally have a working one the first time. But yeah, it basically throws eggs out of the nest here. And like that one's going to fall through. And they sort of target where you are. So I have to make this quick. And there we go. And we get a cream coin for our troubles. And that there is Diddy's little landing because it was the 90s. But anyway, that is the end of Gangplank Galleon. And that is also the end of this episode. Now that we've moved on to Crocodile Cauldron, I will bring you back here next week. So I hope to see you then, folks. Until then, otsukare-sama.